decades.
It's bad, man. I had it in Memphis. I think I was with my daughter. Was I with my daughter or my ex? It was bad. I was like, oh. It was just like greasy and fatty.
What about
Mama June?
What's the other chicken place in Houston? They got Churches.
Chicken Express.
Popeyes. No, not Chicken Express. There's another Hearts. You ever had a Hearts chicken? Hearts chicken's pretty good, or it was. It was when I was 10.
Is it garbage now though?
I don't know. What am I? I'm gonna go to Popeyes.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but when I lived in Houston,
who's that Popeyes red beans and rice? That person knows what's up, man.
Popeyes red beans and rice is good. Their mashed potatoes with the Cajun gravy, premium.
I'm more of a traditional when it comes to my mashed potatoes and gravy.
Don't tell me you like KFC mashed potatoes.
No,
over
there's
Popeyes.
everything they have is terrible. KFC's garbage.
Okay, but see, here's where are you getting fast food mashed potatoes better than Popeyes? Ooh. I mean, I would rather have homemade gravy,
obviously,
on my homemade mashed potatoes.
Obviously.
But if I'm getting fast food chicken, my mashed potatoes comes from Popeyes.
Yeah. Popeyes has the best biscuits though. KFC's biscuits are terrible.
Have you ever had a Bojangles?
They're okay. I had them when I was in North Carolina.
Yeah, the thing with Bojangles is the one thing you can count on is their biscuits are fresh. Because Popeyes, 9 times out of 10 you get a good biscuit, but if you get one of those old biscuits, you're chewing on a hockey puck and that's garbage.
Yeah. It's so buttery. It's so.
Where's the best biscuits you've ever had?
What you mean in my life, or you mean like at a food restaurant?
Anywhere. Well, not home cooked.
Okay, so not homemade?
And it doesn't have to be fast food. Your best biscuits, restaurant, go.
You know what? I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to give it to...
Cracker Barrel?
No.
Okay. I'm
going to give it to Lucille's Barbecue in Las Vegas, up at Red Rock, because they got the apple butter, and when you spread it on, and theirs just tastes perfect.
Sure.
Perfect. Hash House of Go-Go in Vegas also in California, is excellent also. Great.
I got one for you to try. Next time you're in Atlanta, go find Homegrown. Homegrown has the best biscuits I've ever had. By a decent margin.
Well, I'm actually gonna be in Atlanta first week of May. Now there's a place in Atlanta called Fox Brothers Barbecue. It was on point. I'm gonna try and make my way back there because
Fox Brothers Barbecue in Atlanta. I didn't find much good barbecue in Atlanta. I went to some restaurants. Last time I was in Atlanta, it was for a show, the Dick Show meetup. And someone there took me to breakfast at this place, and they had brisket and fried eggs. I mean, hey, it was delicious. I can't remember the name of the place. It was great, a great breakfast place. But I waited we had to wait outside in the Atlanta sun for like an hour and a half to sit down. God, it was good though.
That's almost as bad as going to Austin, Texas. Wait at Franklin's Barbecue for 3 hours. It's epic, man.
Don't go to Franklin's. Go to Black's. Get blacked. Get blacked in Lockhart. Don't go to Austin. Drive yourself 50 minutes to Black's in Lockhart. Get the beef rib. Trust me. Okay, anyway, going back. Wait, we read that one. Talbot Link says kids aren't allowed to play outside anymore. Parents are getting brought to court for their kids playing in the front yard.
Heard about that.
Yeah,
heard about that in
nonsense.
Portland.
My kids
or in Oregon, I should say, not Portland.
My kids play outside.
Yeah.
And if you come try and take them, I'll kill you.
Right?
Yeah.
Getting crazy out there, man.
See, that's the thing. People are actually scared of their kids getting taken. And I don't think they should be. I don't think that's actually as... I mean, I know it does happen, but I think it's less than it used to.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. This is the safest we've ever been in history. Kids are being abducted at the lowest rate. But what's the difference? Coverage. The reason why everyone is so scared of everything and everybody is due to coverage. I just see someone in the chat talking about beignets. I can't count beignets as biscuits because they're a French donut. But for those of you who've ever been to New Orleans and go to Cafe de Maude,
Get yourself some beignets and chocolate milk.
man, you get those beignets and your life is just, God. But no, it's sad about those kids, man.
Even out here, some dudes rolled up.
You told me about that.
Yeah, they rolled up on
snatch up a kid or something.
You guys, I live in a tiny town, and yeah, 2 guys rolled up, tried to snatch some kid. Well, they tried to entice the kids to come into the car, and the kids were like, "Nah, that's cool," and they went home. They ran home. They were a good distance away from the car because of people said backyards are disappearing. Not here,
right?
Not here. But the kids were were able to get back home without issue. But that was a little scary. We had I haven't talked about this. Right over by just a mile from here, there's a dude who is charged with forcible, like breaking and entering, forcible rape at gunpoint. Yeah, he went to one of the neighboring towns. Oh, he's also this guy's a piece of work. Worked at a local house for disabled people called the Divine House. Worked there and sexually assaulted one of the people who lived there.
How old?
One of the patients.
Person.
Probably about my age.
No, the victim.
An adult. I mean, an adult, but disabled, right? So vulnerable adult. Mm-hmm. Gave him a little mouth on the thing, and then left his DNA. Anyway, then he goes to some woman's house in a neighboring town, breaks in, leaves, breaks back in later while she's home, holds her at gunpoint, forcibly rapes her like 3 times. Threatens to murder her kid if she says anything, whatever. He just got tagged. This guy's married, has a 6th child on the way.
Surprise me.
He's busting into a house.
Yeah.
Trying to.
You have a lot of these guys who don't fit the profile, right? John Wayne Gacy. Don't forget about the BTK killer. A lot of these guys out here who are out here committing these terrible acts. A lot of them, the Green River, was it the Green River killer, Green River Valley, whatever. There's a lot of people out here who have families and whatever, and I mean, that's the definition of a sociopath. So here you've got these guys who are out here doing all manner of horrible stuff. And, you kind of look at their actions, and it's like, this is the route you chose. Like, stop trying to, and they always try to blame it on something else.
Right.
I was exposed to porn early in life. My mom hit me, or it was the divorce of my parents. Like
12 million other people didn't do that.
Yeah, and that was always my thing. You look at the amount of people who aren't committing these acts compared to the one, crazy person, and it's like, this is what you're doing. Like, this is what you decide to do with your life. Like, and I remember one.
When you're, can you imagine? You're like filling out. Remember in high school we had to fill out the job thing?
Yep.
Take the job test. What'd you get? Rapist.
Yeah, right? Like, it's so pitiful. It's like, this is what you chose, man. Was this guy? Did you hear about the child rapist who fainted recently when he got his sentence in court? No, I didn't, but I did see Suge Knight faint when he got that bail amount. My man said 25 million. Yeah, you gotta do that. You gotta do that old black. You gotta do that Medea faint. Just, oh, Lord.
Oh, did you? Okay, so Avenatti gets tagged, right?
Yep.
And Garagos gets implicated as well. Are you following the Allison Mack case? The NX IBM.
Sounds familiar.
It's like the sex cult case that's been going on. Allison Mack's a chick from Smallville, the blonde chick.
Yeah. Okay, I do know about that. Yeah. Vaguely.
So Avenatti was hired, like right before this happened. Avenatti was hired by one of the main defendant as a consultant, and Garagos was actually also on that case. And the main defendant, the judge goes, "Did you hire Michael Avenatti? Did you hire this Garagos person?" They literally did the They blacked out. And they had to convene the court for the day. Just answer the question anyway. But like what?
Well, what's the thing about though?
I don't know. I don't know.
Now look, now Suge Knight had a right to faint. Because, as a lawyer, you have an idea of what to expect at your bail, right? Like, okay, so mob bosses, serial killers, they've been hit with this kind of bail.
2-3 million.
2-3 million. My man said $25 million. And he just...
I ain't getting out.
And I'm telling you, when Suge Knight went down, and he had like a diabetic episode or whatever, it's like, I look at these people and I'm like, come on, look, stay out of the courtroom. Like, I know you're a lawyer. I don't
want to be in court. I don't want to be in court ever. I hate it.
It would be great if you could, resolve things without court. Like, now, you and I come from a different era. We come from an era that is, we're basically it. We're basically like the last of, we were the last kids to.
We're a dying breed.
But we are. We're the last
like
of the Mohicans.
Curly and City Slickers.
Well.
I crap bigger than you.
But this is it. Like, think about it. The things that we grew up with, the value systems.
Yeah.
We're literally the last ones.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're all gone. So anyone, they talk about millennials. We're at the absolute edge of what a millennial is basically defined as, and that's why we don't relate to the term millennials, because we're like, I'm not associated with these people. We were the last generation that grew up a certain way. We went out trick or treating. We didn't have our parents hanging around us all the time. We biked to school or we walked to school.
Can you imagine?
Kids got beaten.
I walked to school.
They got the belt. They got the switch.
In the snow and ice. Like, I walked to school when it was 10 degrees or colder out.
Yeah, I didn't ride the bus for the first time until junior high. So middle school was the first time I ever rode a school bus in my whole life.
Well, it took me to get to Christina Huddleston. It took me an hour on the bus or whatever, 45 minutes on the bus, because I was like the first stop.
Yep, and then you had to go all around. Yep.
Or I could walk 20 minutes.
Yep.
It was nuts.
And it's bad. And, we had a time where
15 miles uphill both ways. No. We're not talking about how hard it was. We're not talking about how hard it was.
We're just saying, like, in terms of like something as simple as
we had libertarian roads. We had to lay the stones down in front of us as we walked.
And well, think about it like this though. When we were growing up, we didn't grow up with certain technology, right? We were pre-internet. Internet came into our lives. Cell phones and smartphones came into our lives. We weren't born with it. So what ends up happening is we had to form interpersonal relationships with each other, right? Like that. Think about it. We're the last age, but where people interact. They're just connected without needing to be sitting there doing this all day.
Yeah, I still need that now.
And that's all you see now. You know what I'm saying? And which is very unfortunate. Kids, we could just do things just as simple as biking to school. Like, think about it. Do you see any kids outside ever now? No, not for the most, what I'm saying, for the most part.
It's rare. It's weird.
Go to any suburb in America. Do you see any kids outside?
Halloween is weird.
We used to, you remember that? Grab a pillowcase. Go out.
Clean house.
We just left. Parents didn't look for you. There were no cell phones.
No.
So if you got Jacob Wetterling was the horror story of our childhood.
Yeah.
He's the turning point. Like where kids were like, oh my God.
They found him like 20 miles.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was buried in a farm field.
So that guy actually was the guy, the guy that.
Yeah. Wow. You drove right past it on the way here.
Really?
Yeah, it's right on that road that you drove coming through.
That was so sad, man. As a kid.
Well, yeah, because it gave us Patty Wetterling.
Correct. Yeah, Patty.
That's the second tragedy of Jacob Wetterling, is that it gave us Patty Wetterling.
Yeah, Patty was. But I can't knock her. I mean, you lost your son.
No, you can't knock her, but man, I'd be happier without her around.
Yeah, she really. But it is what it is. It's like as a kid growing up, you hear these stories, and to hear a story about a kid who looks like you, who's you're around your age, and he just disappears, gone, and he's with his friends too, right? He's with two friends, or a brother and a friend or something. Jacob Wetterling disappears. That was in 1990 or 91,
something like that.
Never seen again. What that does to you as a child, it's like the first moment we're like, oh my God, like the kidnap. That was the first time I ever heard the term kidnapping.
see, he
It
was
was October like 23rd.
89.
89. So
Yeah.
October 23rd, right?
22nd.
22nd? October 22nd, 1989. Jacob Wetterling got snatched. Yeah, because I remember it was right before Halloween. And I was going out, and yeah, it was terrible. Yeah,
Tell us about the pyramids and how you built them.
Yeah, someone talked about John Walsh's kid, who they believe might have been killed by the serial killer. Was it Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas? I believe they thought it was Otis Toole. And
man, Otis got it wrong in the Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer movie.
Was the hammer he got?
I thought he got the TV.
TV? Yeah, I remember it was something ugly.
Can you tell us the story of the kid found in your town? Well, it wasn't my town. It's a town close by. He was found in Litchfield, Minnesota. I mean, the story is he was abducted in 1989, October 22nd, 1989. And no one knew where he was. He was found in 2016. They had the suspect. I mean, they had the suspect from the start, but they just didn't have any evidence. And eventually, the suspect got tagged on, I think, child porn or something like that, and then spilled the beans. He's considerably older, like 30 years older, almost. Yep. And so he was going away forever, spilled the beans on where the body was buried. Long and short is the guy tried to abduct Jacob and another kid. He got Jacob. He took him to a field, and he made him perform. Yeah, it was found near Painesville. That's right, Woodman Gaming. He made him perform some sexual act on him. And then when he realized that he suddenly had a kid who could testify against him about, this horrific crime, he decided to kill him, and he just buried him in a farm field or whatever. So, and that's all it took. I mean, it wasn't an elaborate, planned out crime.
Nope.
It wasn't anything. It was just a guy who did something gross and then didn't want to witness, and buried him in the middle of nowhere, and no one knew.
Never seen again, man. Like,
yeah, 2016 he was found, and only because the guy
just shy of 30 years
talked about it. So it was
yeah, I saw some people in there talking about John Bonet. That was terrible. John Walsh's kid, terrible. Like, to this day, I still I remember seeing. You guys remember that movie, The Lovely Bones? Peter Jackson movie based on the book.
I didn't see it, but I remember it coming up.
Like, once you get to that part, I couldn't. When you start dealing with kids, it's just she never makes it out of the place, because the whole movie is just seeing her. She doesn't know that she's actually dead. So when she realizes, like, oh my God, I'm dead. And I never made it out of that place, that creep. It's a terrible, terrible thing to think about, is these sick people out here.
Okay, here's what happened. This is crazy. I'm following up on the story. The guy's name is Danny James Heinrich.
Why do they always have three names? You ever notice that? They're always three names.
So Danny James Heinrich, he abducted another kid in another town, like 20 miles away from Litchfield, in Cold Spring. And back in 1989, he was a suspect, but he wasn't charged with a crime. So they took a DNA sample back in 89. Now, DNA testing wasn't actually really good back then. But so they had him as a suspect. So then the statute of limitations had expired for the Cold Spring kidnapping, which was the other kid who lived, because he didn't die. If he would have been murdered, it would have, statute of limitations doesn't run on murder. But on the kidnapping, it did. So when they finally got the DNA technology, which I think really started to become prevalent around 99, and they matched it up eventually. They used that and got a search warrant for his house. In the search warrant, they found child pornography. And so he admitted to the Jacob Wetterling abduction and led them to the body as part of his plea bargain for the child porn. So there you go.
So I'm assuming he was probably going to get hit with some insane amount of time. And he said, well, hey, give me preferential treatment. Like, maybe.
In exchange for the plea, the prosecutors didn't charge him with the murder of the kid. They just gave him 20 years for the child porn charge.
Yeah. Yeah, so he doesn't have to face the murder charge.
And this guy was pretty old at this point. But yeah, terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. Thanks for bringing us down, having us tell that story.
Right? I mean, you gotta flip that and then go into something very lighthearted.
Well, should we see what the chat says?
Yeah.
Chat says, Abbazanuff says 18 years of child support is cheaper than alimony. Chris Primer says our economy is a debt-based economy and cheap credit is drying up. Great Depression 2.0 ahead. Bray says Drexel, honestly, growing up and being spurred so much by women, I actually ended getting together with another man. Haven't been happier since. So I guess women drove him to the gay, which there you go.
You know what's kind of funny though is like I never was spurned. I never had like a bad horse.
You humble bragging again? Humble bragging again? I was never spurned by a woman.
Yeah, I mean I never had like the horror story. Like,
But did you have the horror story?
Did I have the horror story?
I'm just kidding.
Well, there was SWAT.
we don't need to talk about the SWAT story. SWAT. Come on.
Yeah, whoever that dude was. Yeah, you know what though? Here's the thing though. If whatever.
Did you hear about the dude who just got 20 years?
What?
Calling the fake SWAT on the guy back like December of 2017 or whatever.
Well, I remember that there was a guy who got killed doing.
Yeah, the guy who got tagged by police. The guy who called the SWAT team. The guy who called the SWAT team just got sentenced to 20 years for it.
Considering that someone wound up dead over that, I think life sentence.
I agree. Thank you.
Because you should be getting conspiracy charges. Because conspiracy alone is the same as the charge itself.
Yeah, he should go. He should go he should go away.
Yeah, like the whole swatting thing.
Anybody who swats, in my opinion, should get an attempted murder charge.
Yeah. That's sort of you're done. Rich from Review Tech talked about that. I remember seeing a whole episode he did talked about those. He actually had said that like well before it ever happened, right? Like it'll get to that point where someone stupid is going to do that, and someone's going to wind up dead. The worst part was it was the wrong person. Yeah, not even a. Yeah, he had the address wrong, so you. And the guy had 2 kids, like 2 small kids. Like he just walks the door, like, why are these cops at my door?
Now here's the question: should the cop be charged? Did you see the video of that guy getting shot?
Let me guess. He had a quick trigger finger.
Cops across the street from the guy. You know, he's you get the body cam of like the next cop over or whatever. Guy's across the street. Guy comes out. You know, he's looking out at all the cop cars around the house, and he's like, "What's this?" Puts his hands down. Boom, like headshot. That's it. Across the road, they're like, "Oh, we feared for our safety." They're across the road behind cars.
Yeah. When that is, when that happens, sorry about that, E-Tank. Cut down. I speak quietly. With something like that, yes, you do charge because you can't have that. Now, you still go hard on this dude who decided to call the cops because what are you, or in this case, SWAT? What are you doing? You know, and these kids think that this stuff is just a joke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't shoot. He's not black. From Cat.
Did you see that? That was from DBZ.
What's that?
Or Dragon Ball Super. That's a line from Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, is it?
Because there's this weird alternative timeline where Goku Black, who is a guy named Zamasu, he's one of the angels or whatever, he takes on the body of Goku and goes back into the alternative history with Trunks and stuff, and he's killing everybody. So then real Goku shows up in that timeline, and all the cops are there with a bunch of guns, and they're like, "Wait, don't shoot! He's not black!" Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, the bad whatchamacallit, the bad translation.
Because it's Goku Black. That's the
correct.
Yeah, this man is not black. Great, fantastic. Anyway, what were you saying? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I don't know, man. You're saying about these cops.
I'm so tired of them shooting dudes.
Well, do you know? I kid you not. Like, I didn't see that one with the guy who got swatted. I still think the one with the guy in the hotel might have been the worst.
Daniel Shaver.
That one was bad because he's screaming these instructions that are contradictory.
My problem is both of those cops should get charges.
Like, stop him. Like, this dude's way too hot. Stop him.
Yeah.
Don't move. You have to follow my instructions. And the kid is terrified. Now, I will say this though. Obviously, this is terrible. The one problem I have with that whole story is what he was doing first. You remember what he was doing? He's like firing like a fake gun or something like that. Accused of.
Yeah, they said someone called the cops and said he was pointing a pellet. Well, it was a pellet gun.
Pellet gun.
But they don't know that. You know, if this is true.
If it's true.
Someone said he was pointing his gun out the window of a hotel. Now, not out the window because you typically can't open a hotel window that way. But pointing it towards the outside or something. Hmm. But I mean, is that what happened? Or was it, I mean, he had a couple ladies in there with him. Maybe it was a noise complaint. I don't know. I don't actually know. I don't know if I trust the story.
It sounds suspicious, obviously, but at the same time, it's like it's just getting to a point that's so bad because you're basically like walking on eggshells. And like I said, like so what has ended up happening is a lot of people just don't want to be involved anymore. Like I'm seeing that more and more. Like bar culture is dead, club culture is dead. Like people just don't even be involved at all. Like I actually see it with my own eyes. Where I mean, think about it, like so. Prime example. Imagine that you're not a family man,
right?
You're just a random single guy. You got no kids, no wife, no nothing. You do your work. What do you want to do when you're done working? Like, if you represent the average guy right now in 2019, what does the average guy want to do when he gets off work?
Probably go home and
just go home,
play video games or something. Yeah,
and like so, isn't what's happening in the markets kind of dictating that? Yeah, who is that? The Videos Inc. Bar culture is gone. Like now, I've been hearing these stories based on women I know telling me about how the bar culture is dead. Like the club culture is dead, and that's where the gym thought came from. So like I said, you go to some of these gyms, these big box gyms, what you find in them is it's all the women who, because bars and clubs are gone, they need access to men. Where are you gonna find dudes? Like the gym is one of the last predominantly male spaces. I look at what's going on, and it's gotten bad out there.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's this bad?
I don't go to bars and clubs.
Yeah.
I don't always go to bars and clubs.
Yeah, right.
But when I do, no, it's a sad thing because you see whoever's on the bar stool and you're like, hey, like this used to be a joke,
right?
This used to be the guy at noon.
Correct.
Now it's the guy at 11, and the woman at 11. You're like,
yeah.
Hey.
Well, yeah, one of the guys was that True said male only gyms win. No, not male only gyms. Male dominated. The gym is still a male dominated space, not male only. Yeah, there are no male spaces. There's only in those female gyms. They all died, curves and all that stuff. Women don't want to be around other women.
Curves. Have you ever seen a Curves, like what their workout plan is?
No.
It's a circle of stations. Because it's always a circle, right?
Of course.
And you go to each station, and then you do like 2 minutes of pump or whatever, and then you go to the next station. Like you go around and they have like a rest station or whatever, and like it's an absolute joke. It's just like it's honestly women just talking to each other, and like they got their threes or their 2.5s, and they're like, just talking about their day. And then they go over to the next one, and it's like a jump rope, and they just kind of swing it around. They're not doing anything. It's an absolute.
Well, I know it's a joke, and I mean, look, let's face it, man. When I go to work out, I notice what's going on. The women they're wearing less and less clothing, more and more revealing clothing when they do wear clothing. And what you're starting to see is, as all these other spaces start to dry up, like think about it. Like, really ask yourself this. This is for the ladies in the chat. Whatever women are in the chat, I want you to just post. Where do you meet men? Just in your life personally. You can get anecdotal or just kind of with women in general, right? You can't go to church. You can't. So think about this for a second. So if you're a woman out there, you want to meet a man. You can't meet him at the gym, or I say at the bar, right? The bar scene's pretty much dead. Club scene's dead. Where do they have? Church is, you know what that is. Where are they meeting them?
I meet men at the grocery store. There you go.
Under the bridge.
you and Anthony Kiedis. Comic-Con. There you go.
Yeah.
University classes.
A social event.
I think it's work. Well, it used to be work. Can't do work anymore.
Well, hold on now. So Comic-Con had the big crackdown on especially white men, right? I heard some stories about this whole anti-white male thing with the Comic-Con. They were like touching girls or something. Was that what's going on?
Who knows? Because you got to understand that comic book professionals are cuck central.
Yeah.
Like, they are absolutely. First of all, half of them are women. All of those are frumpy. Yeah. Not even half. Probably 3/4. It's weird. The comic community is changing in this dramatic way. And the men who are still in comics, I mean, men is a term we use. But I wouldn't...
Yeah, who was that? Brad Deal, that cracked down cosplayers? I heard about that.
Cosplay is not consent, Drexel.
Oh, God, are they saying that? Like,
no, it's worse. Because they're not talking about sex. They're talking about cosplay is not consent to take the picture of the cosplayer.
What?
They're in public dressed like this, but you can't take a picture because I guess, I don't know, the thought is you're going to go home and beat off to it or something. Like, what? Why are they dressed up like this if they don't want people to take a picture? So you have to, that's one of the things now is like, if you want to take a picture of someone, you have to go ask them for specific consent to take the picture or else you get thrown out.
This is all news.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, cosplay is not consent. Yeah, these cosplay thoughts are, and I don't mean all cosplayers. I mean the specific thoughts.
Yeah. Well, just like the Twitch thoughts. Like, here's not everyone who's a female on Twitch.
Dominique Sky. Okay, Dominique Sky. This is an anime cosplay thought. Who is talking about Vic, right? It's talking about Vic Mignogna and the whole like, oh, he hugged a person without their consent and he's a monster. This chick runs an 18+ Patreon, so when you pay enough money, you get the nudes, right, of the cosplay thought. Right. So she's selling these nudes. I mean, is there any age verification on this? We have no idea. We have no idea. So here she is literally monetizing sexuality in her body and then saying, at the same time, cosplay is not consent. Believe all women, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. All the time. My mic is clipping. I'm sorry. It's because I'm far away from it. I'll fix it. Reporter to the IRS. That thought audit. Thought audit
is real, man.
Yeah. Let's see.
So Dominique Scott. Look up Dominique Scott and ask Drexel you would smash her pass.
Okay.
I've never heard of this person.
I'll pull her up. Got to look her up in safe mode. No, I'm just kidding.
Safe mode.
She's your. You know what this chick looks like already. Let's be real. You've seen her. These are.
Oh, I see. Yeah, one of these types.
Yeah. You could.
The hypersexualized, over made up. Yeah, like showing all. Yeah.
Smash or pass?
Well, when you see somebody with that much makeup, you don't know what you're just basing on that. I mean, like I said, it's a smash. I mean, here's the thing that I think what people don't understand is that, like,
this chick would Me Too you in a heartbeat.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like we're just talking about just on looks alone. Just like when I talk about, let's say Kim Kardashian, right? If someone says Kim Kardashian, well, Kim Kardashian in terms of just looks, we're talking about all the the fake butt and all that stuff. Most guys would be like this, but just on look, just a flat out like, is that appealing enough to your eye to say yay or nay without all the laws and everything? Then the answer to most, like I said, that's why guys, they said it's literally 50-50. They just go, yeah, or maybe someone else may not like a certain body type or a look or something. No, but that's it. You can look. Men can even we can even smash based on a feature. You see what I'm saying? A feature. Like a man can look at a girl and go like this, dang, she's got a butter face. I'll just focus on the rest of her body and be good.
Yeah, I don't have to look at that.
I have to look at that. Like we can do that. Like, yeah, you know what? It is what it is, man.
We can turn the lights off, lady.
We turn the lights off,
Crackbot says, all hail the artificial uterus. Voltic Enigma, how much does one of these waifu bots cost? Asking for a friend. That's the Japanese full sex robot waifu.
Yeah, I heard $250,000 for the full 100% fully functional one. It was $250,000.
Finn Frog says, no Wi-Fi for the waifu bot. Cave says, this is now temporarily a Drexel React stream. Up first is Drexel reacts to ASMR for white liberals. Have you seen this video? I can't play this stuff on stream because I don't want to get a copyright strike right in the middle of it. I gotta play this for you later. It is, oh man, it's great.
What is it?
It's called ASMR for white liberals. Are you familiar with ASMR?
No, what is it?
Okay, so ASMR, you have two microphones or a certain mic that splits, and it splits the stereo channels on your headphones or your speakers, right?
Yep.
So you can talk into the left ear, talk into the right ear. Now, ASMR is... Here's some ASMR. The dulcet tones. People really relax to this. And they do that. So these women will do it, and they'll like whisper sweet nothings into your ear. So people wear the headphones and, coming in. I don't know. Some people like this stuff.
This sounds like Demolition Man.
I don't know why it's so difficult to just beat off to porn. Like,
you might as well, like, look.
That's not ASMR. You're not ASMR.
I can't believe this is a thing, man.
Anyway, so this video though is a black guy doing ASMR for white liberals, and he's like rubbing his hair on the microphone. He's like, "This is a black person's hair. You always want to rub. You love it. It's great."
Oh,
I'll show you later. It is so Demolition Man. Sleep aid. Sure it is.
Yeah. Do you remember how creepy that was when he's like, when Sandra Bullock's character is like, yeah, I would like to have sex with you after all that commotion tonight. And Sylvester Stallone's like, oh yeah. And the look on his face.
She puts on a 3D.
She puts on a little like VR headset. Like, wait, what? Like, dude. That was so. Demolition Man came out in '94. If the year's 94 and I'm in Stallone's shoes and someone asked me to get with Sandra Bullock, I'd be like, oh yeah, good. To get hit with a VR set. Oh no. Nah.
Someone says Bob Ross, the original ASMR.
Yeah. The little paintbrush dude.
Happy little tree.
Oh god, that dude.
Okay, so we got Jace, Jace, Nembhard says, what is it? LMAO. Okay, thank you. M Musid says, Nick, look at Duncan V. Becerra. Judge said PC 32310, the magazine ban, is unconstitutional. Rip my wallet. Well, F for your wallet, buddy. Robert R91 says, I can't wait for the Jerry Springer Robo Waifu episode.
Oh, it's coming.
He does a game show now called Baggage.
Oh, I heard about that.
That's a funny game show.
I heard about that. Like, yeah, and you have to like decide if you want to be with that person at the end of all the baggage they got.
Okay, fine. Google ASMR. Everybody's suddenly ASMR purists. Here we go. ASMR. Autonomous sensory meridian response is an experience characterized by a static-like or tingling sensation on the skin that typically begins on the scalp and moves down the back of the neck and upper spine, compared with auditory tactile synesthesia and may overlap with frisson. That's the Wikipedia thing. But an ASMR stream is just some thought whispering to you and you know it. Stop pretending it's something else. Stop pretending it's anything else other than an e-thought whispering to you sweet nothings in your ear and whatever they do. Come on, guys. Come on.
Come on.
Someone says it's an eargasm. Exactly.
So an eargasm is ASMR, you said? I've never heard of this ridiculousness in all my life. So here's a question, though. How does someone, like I said, I live in some alternate reality, I guess. So.
Real ASMR isn't done by thoughts. Yeah, but we're not talking about real. We're talking about the ASMR that is consumed.
Right.
That is consumed by people. That's the trick. A lot of guys make ASMR.
well, here's my thing, though. Ultimately, what is a person really getting out of that? Oh, oops. What's the person really getting out of that, right? Like,
apparently they get a tingly sensation that they like. I get it. That's cool. Well, for the real stuff, I don't know. I don't know, man.
I guess. I don't know. That just, I mean, you have
boners. Someone says boners. That's what they get out of it. Oh my god!
Yeah. That's all news. I've never heard of ASMR.
We're gonna listen to some ASMR some point here. Are there any noises you like bubble wrap, Drexel? Anything that soothes you when you hear it?
I don't know about all that.
Thanks for the answer. Anarcho Otaku says, I can already hear that blue-haired orca shaking after that conversation. LMAO. Yep. Duncan McBride managed to catch this early enough to be here before Battletoads. Got to reset my sleep before I start my new job Monday. I'll try to watch to the end. Good luck. Good luck. Tech7 Go says, rip Racquetball's liver. There goes more shots of whiskey. I can't tell if his face is constantly ruddy from anger or the onsets of alcoholism. I've had 1.5 shots this whole time. Come on, guys. Maybe a combination of both. Pretty ugly little liars. See, Nick, they're just concerned for you. Yeah, pretty ugly. Oh, that's what people said on Pretty Ugly Little Liars. Well, emphasis on the ugly. RZEQDW says, girlfriend broke up with me 2 weeks ago. Since you're the hero of the Texas anime community now, can you tell all the women in Austin who are watching that we should meet up for drinks? Yeah, you should definitely meet up with RZEQDW. He's a good dude. Sorry to hear that, buddy. Sorry to hear that. The Resident Evil 4 merchant says, I really hope Rial's Sisterhood of the Traveling Rees were watching Drexel's rant and are just foaming at the mouth. Yeah, I don't know if they'd get along with you. But would they want that D?
In general, feminists love. You talk about you showed me the Dick Masterson episode, right? Where this super feminazi was all over him due to being chauvinistic, right? His chauvinistic behavior, like
yeah, so that was him on Dr. Phil.
On Dr. Phil, yeah, that's right. So on Dr. Phil, so I've had situations where I've had women call me every bad name, sexist, I'm misogynist, blah blah. I'm this horrible person, and then at the end, it's like, yeah, but yeah, I'm looking for the D.
Please spit in my mouth, Drexel.
Yeah, no. Here's what's funny though. One of the things that I found funny about a lot of these super hardcore feminists is that the same ones that talk all this, objectification of women and everything, they want you to completely demean, humiliate, and objectify them sexually. That's what gets them off. That's what gets them to their peak. And you're just, so as the dude, you're like, you literally just said, and they're like, yeah, I know. I'm saying it's all one big shit chat. That's all it is. That's all feminism is in a nutshell. It's just but the problem is you have too many cucks, like the Justin Trudeaus of the world, who are going to couch out to it. So what can you do? Like, no matter how tough I am, no matter how alpha I am, I'm not going to, outdo, 70,000 beta male cucks that the National Guard sends out, that the Army sends out, like that the law enforcement sends out. Like, think about it. Who ultimately, when women call the cops on guys, who's picking them up? It's other dudes.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not a robot army. It's not a female army. It's other men putting men in jail. Most judges are still men, right? Yet here are judges hitting guys with these insane sentences, hitting guys with insane violations of their rights in family court. And it's also like, so you're doing this to a fellow man? You don't see women out there saying like, "Oh, we need to imprison women." Yeah, you know. So
The more women in prison equals the more Showtime specials.
of course,
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Next was Michael Pitcavage. HawaiiCon update. The room's paid and I'm hyped. Congrats, buddy. I would love to join you. I don't know if I get to go there or not. Gengio says, you didn't debate Shane, you murdered him. Also, wait, Shane did it? I don't believe that. You need a few working brain cells to be able to do it. IT, sorry, not it. That's what he claims. I don't know. Keldeo the horse says Shane needed that cigarette during the debate. I think he had 2 or 3. Jose Loreno says Battletoads on Genesis for 100% 2-player.
I forgot about the Genesis version. Yeah.
That doesn't even. I don't like that game.
The Genesis version is different, just like the Super Nintendo Battletoads and Battlemania levels. It was different. They like the Nintendo one is really the only one that is like the real version. The rest of them are kind of.
Yeah, you're getting kind of quiet on me. I hate to say that. You got to make sure if you're gonna be quiet. You gotta love the mic.
Oh, can you pick that up?
Yeah, you're good now.
Oh,
it's just when we're only 5 hours in, 19 to go.
Look, man, when I do that, fall off of the well, see, like I'm gonna be back up when when you do your interview. I'm gonna roll over, do my power nap. Come back for Battletoads because the misses will be up. That's my game plan.
Yeah, if you need to go, I'm the only one who's obligated to sit here for 24 hours.
Sucks to be you, man.
Yeah, I know. But we've made the bad decision, or I've made the bad decision, so I will be here. Izzy Reborn donated $1. Thank you so much. And Musid says Shane is 10-ply soft. Anthony Siebert says, Nick, you need to call CPS to save Shane's chair from him. Chair Protection Services. Tempest Fowl says, ex-wife takes half my pay and I barely get to see my kid. The system is so just. Equal rights, my ass. RIP to you, buddy. You won't find any objection from us. God of Plague says, I'll take a kung fu waifu. Watch out. Do you think they're going to plan, they'll make like a... Do you think eventually the sex robots will have AI programming where if you disrespect the robot, you don't get it?
No, they're already doing that. They're already the feminists are already pushing for. They're already pushing for that whole whatchamacallit, like the sex robot has to like give consent, or like they have to, like they can say don't, like they can fight back. They don't just like sit there and just like let you do whatever you want. Like they do have some kickback. They have a little bit of that. So.
How long till the first waifu robot rape charge?
It'll come. Now, you heard about the TFM talked about what I always said would happen when I first heard about Me Too, which was the amount of people like sex workers who would try to Me Too somebody, especially porn stars, when there's already a crew on set.
Yeah.
And it's been happening. There have been dudes who've gotten Me Too'd. And it's like, so how did someone rape you with 30 of these other, a microphone guy, editor, all these. So how did this happen? You don't have an answer. You just say, he did it.
No, it was a gangbang, but they didn't like one of them.
Right, you're right.
Books, Games, Pottery says, and it's not just men who have trouble finding worthwhile partners in today's world. Speaking as a 27-year-old woman who cooks, crochets, and basically belongs in the world from 100 years ago, guys aren't interested in filling roles in the traditional family. I think you were kind of touching on that. It's that's where women become the victims too of this feminism, is because you're taking men away from the useful pool.
Correct.
And so therefore you're making it harder for women who do want to have the sort of traditional roles and lifestyle and actually just want to be a normal person.
Correct.
You're making it much harder for them to fulfill that.
Well here's it kind of. It basically happens from both ends. So on one end, due to like the sexual liberation, you have a lot of women who have what they do. They're basically spinsters. So that doesn't work out so well, right? Because now that woman can't pair bond.
On the mic. Get on the mic.
Now that woman can't pair bond. Oh, Bonnie Rotten tried to meet you as well. I didn't know that.
get you since you're quiet now.
Well, so you wind up in a situation like it's like this. I look at some of these women and the women who are in the workforce. Due to hypergamy, women aren't going to marry down. So they aren't going to marry down, right? So you wind up in a situation where I look at a lot of these women, and I've seen this happen, where a woman looks at a degree as if that really means something. Like, if I have a master's, he has to have a doctorate. If I have a bachelor's, he has to have a master's. Like, they have to always have something that's above. They don't understand. They're like, a guy can have a PhD and make no money. He can't provide for you. He can't provide for a family, but he has a PhD.
Lots of people with PhDs don't make any money.
They don't make any money, and then they have that student loan debt. So was that person really winning? And I've seen in a lot of these women, I'm sure that guys in the chat can attest to this. They have seen women in the workplace, especially, who are miserable. Who are absolutely miserable. And that's one of the effects of feminism. Like, you went to the workforce. Now, like, if you thought being at home with your children was oppression, that was what feminism taught women, right? Like, you being in the house is oppressive. Now, where are you at? You're in a corporate cubicle? That is soul crushing to be at a cubicle. Like, it was an office space where, they finally rebel. It's like, this just isn't right. It's just, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
They have no feminine qualities. They're not cooking. They're not, it just, that's it.
Lauren McDaniel says, nah, I'm running my own business. Yeah, well, that's fine.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Understand this. Two things. One, a lot of, self-owned businesses fail, especially women's, unfortunately. I want people to succeed. But remember, though, that is the exception, not the rule. Always remember that the rule is always more important than the exception. Just like 87% of inmates come from single moms. But if someone says, well, I came from a single mom and I'm not in jail, it's like, yeah, but you're the minority. I mean, okay, a broken clock is right twice a day. So who cares? It's just, it's unfortunate. Women have lost their femininity. They don't know. They know how to be dudes, or at least compete with dudes. And now what they do is they'll throw out sexuality to attract men. Like, so Nick, do you know what I've actually had happen to me on quite a few occasions?
What's up?
Women ask me, what should I wear?
What should you wear? What should they wear?
So,
sure.
They become like, you're like, oh yeah, we're going to this. What should I wear? There was a time when no woman would have asked that, right? You seriously, do you think any woman in the 50s or 60s ever asked, like, just a guy or their guy, like, what, like, even their boyfriend, what should I? They just wore what they knew would.
There are two answers to that question: nothing or tent.
Yeah, you're right. But it's part of being feminine. You get to. I mean, like, a lot of these women don't have confidence. They have like this false bravado. What I've been noticing, like it's like this, like, manly type of, like, see, and that's why you'll like, especially with black women, especially, you will hear them talk about their degrees. I got a master's degree. I got this. I make this much at this job. And I was like, the guys don't care about that, right?
Right.
I've actually told women that. I was like, you do know that everything that you are saying does not attract a man. When you say that you like, oh, I got my own house, I got this, I got that, I got a degree, I make this much, the guy's just kind of like, yeah, okay, I don't care. And because of that, the guy's like, yeah, there's nothing really I need from her. So they will view you as a sex object. That's just the way it is. It's sad. I'm sad to say that's what ends up happening.
Yeah, there's a skewing of perceived value.
Correct.
That's what feminism is doing. I think that's the point of what you're saying here. It's not that women can't be happy in a workplace. It's not that women can't run a business. It's that there are generations of women being sold the lie that
they can have it all.
They will be happier in a workplace. They will be happier doing their own business. They will be happier if they get these degrees.
Shame housewives. Housewives in the modern era in 2019. Seriously, go find me a housewife that is not shamed. by media, by her peers, by most people, they'll look at her as a failure and say like, you're a failure.
Yeah, I mean, if you when Lady Rackets fills out a thing and she puts down homemaker or whatever, a lot of times the response she'll get is, "Oh, you're just a homemaker."
Yeah, it's this condescending kind of thing.
Right.
They don't understand the magnitude of what will come later in life. I've actually seen it. Now, like I said, there are always those women who are going to say, "Oh, well, it's not me. It's not me." I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes, man. A lot of women, as they start to get like, I've seen women who have said, and I've seen this, Nick, I'm sure you've heard of it too, where women say like, "Well, I don't ever want to have kids, so that doesn't affect me." They say that at like 23, right? I'm all about my career. All of a sudden, that biological clock starts ticking. Loud.
Right.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Like in Look Who's Talking.
Poor Kirstie Alley. And you look at what ends up happening, and all of a sudden, it's like that. That same young woman who was 23 saying, "I don't want kids, I'm all about my career, I don't need no man," she wakes up one day and she's 31. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And she realizes, the wall hits. I've seen the wall hit women hard. I've seen chicks turn to spinsters. And it's sad to see because like they never learned how to be women. All they learned how to be was a competitor to men.
Right.
And it's sad. And it's like, and I tell them, I was like, I've tried to pull women aside. Nick, they won't listen. They have been so indoctrinated. They will not listen. And I said, you know what? Okay, do what you want. And so they started. That's why when you hear women say like, they will point out the double standard when it comes between male sexuality in terms of their promiscuity and women's. They're different. Men are built differently. A man can be out there and be a man whore and be with all kinds of women, find the right woman and settle down. And it has no effect on him, his body count. No effect. He can pair bond. In fact, the woman doesn't care. Like even things like 50 Shades of Grey, which is total, it's total, fantasy, right? But for those of you who watched 50 Shades or read the books, I only watched it. All the girls I knew read the books.
Hey, I read the first one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's actually it needs an edit.
Yeah,
but the underlying writing is complex and deep. Not deep like Christian Grey's journey into what's her face's Lady Nethers. But I mean, no, like there's actually some interesting themes and literary device that she's using. The dialogue is trash.
Terrible.
The exposition is trash. The internal monologue is trash. But the underlying mechanics of the story are actually good. I was shocked because I found myself kind of enjoying where, like, from a literary criticism perspective, I'm like going through this thing. I'm like, there's good stuff happening here. Why didn't they just edit this book?
Yeah,
they could have done that.
I've heard that that writing stuff is choppy. It's not very good. But like, there's a lot of truth in 50 Shades. Like I said, okay, ultimately, 50 Shades. You look at Christian Grey, he gets with Anastasia Steele, and look at what Anastasia Steele represents. So she's young. Like, I'm not gonna say debt free because I mean she is at that point in the story early on. She is going to school, but let's just say low debt, no tattoos, and she's a virgin. So she has to just be young, attractive, a virgin, no tattoos, all that. So now look at the flip side of that. You look at the women in society that you see who are out here, riding the carousel, doing what they want to do. And I was like, I hope you understand what's going to happen later on. Because a guy will never he'll look at you as a Tinder hookup. Because remember, if a woman is so busy with her career, what does that mean, Nick? She doesn't have time for a relationship. Right. I have this meeting, I have this. So what's going to end up happening is the men that she's going to say, the quality men, they aren't around. The only men that are going to be available for a woman who is a career-minded woman, it's going to be stoners, deadbeats, or like career men who just want a hookup. But nothing will be of substance. There is no substance to it.
I got to talk to the chat here because I got to talk. I'm getting some heat.
Uh-oh.
I'm getting a little heat from my literary criticism of 50 Shades.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yes, the technical writing is terrible. That's what I'm talking about. But the underlying storytelling is good. No, it's not truth. That doesn't matter. If you don't understand that the truth of the story doesn't matter in fiction, it just doesn't. It depends on what you're trying to do with it. Now, E.L. James is god-awful at writing. Don't get me wrong. But if you can muscle through it and start looking at these underlying themes about, you find some interesting character traits about why Christian Grey is so obsessed with hunger, with eating, with food. That stuff is interesting. If you start dealing with how trauma and sexual deviancy, I guess, has affected him from a young age through now, that's interesting. If you talk about how Anastasia's perceptions about what proper relationship is and how those are challenged by Christian Grey, that stuff's actually pretty interesting. Doesn't mean that the story is true or at all. I think this dumb broad is up there saying, like, she just wrote her own personal erotic fantasy. That's the whole point of the story. But what I'm saying is that she stumbled into, maybe by pure accident, she stumbled into interesting themes that are worth exploring in the book. She doesn't do it adeptly. That's what the editor would be for. But don't tell me that, like, the writing is bad. Yes, the writing's bad. That's the first thing I said. But the underlying technical things going on are interesting from a literary criticism perspective. So it doesn't mean you have to enjoy it or anything like that. I'm not saying it's enjoyable.
It's similar to watching a movie that has good technical aspects, right? Like
The Piano. The Piano is a shit movie that's a good movie.
It's well made.
Yeah.
It's well made, but you just don't enjoy it.
Right. Yeah. Anyway. So here's the only way you read 50 Shades, though. For me, I committed to reading it to see if the social criticism of it was valid. And of course it wasn't. The social criticism of 50 Shades was not valid. These are all the pastors out there saying that 50 Shades is going to corrupt an entire generation.
No, it won't.
Blah, blah. That was nonsense. That's why I committed to reading it. Was it enjoyable? Not really. Not for me. But I think it could have been with
if
a good
edit. Better written.
Yeah.
It was better written. So yeah, the basic story actually, to be honest with you, does work. But at the end of the day, you know what? It is what it is, right? Like, it's made to be entertaining. Some people think that's what it did. Some people don't think it did that. But it was like, what? It was like a Twilight fan fiction. I think is the actual, like, origins of the story. Like, and Twilight was ridiculous. I mean, you look at some of Anne Rice's stuff. It's like a lot of
Twilight
stuff
wasn't
ridiculous.
Anne Rice. I don't.
No. 50 Shades is the, like, fan fiction of Twilight.
Right, but Twilight wasn't Anne
Twilight
Rice.
is not Anne Rice.
Anne Rice was Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire, yeah. Which I love that movie when it came out. Didn't age that well, but that was a good Kirsten Dunst early flick.
Twilight was absolute trash.
It was terrible.
But you know what? The guy who did the trailers for the later Twilight movies, that guy needs a medal.
True, because it made it look like it was going to be like lots of fighting and battles, and then you got nothing.
Yeah, and you got absolute garbage.
It was pure trash. I had to check the stuff of those in theaters, by the way.
You watched those in theaters?
My friend's daughter had me go to them. It was it was terrible.
Oh,
absolutely
my God.
terrible.
Oh my God. Okay, next we've got, people are telling, I got trolled into talking about 50 Shades. You're right, but you know what? Izzy Reborn says, say tortious interference 3 times and you'll summon Daddy Nick. Internet Tab says, Drex. Can I call you Drex? I agree, never apologize, but don't ignore. Ignoring them is how they weaseled their way into these positions of power. Any comment on that?
He's talking about like just women
Social
in the workplace?
justice people.
Oh, SJWs?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you don't apologize to the mob, but he's saying you also don't ignore the mob. Because if you just ignore them...
Okay, so I think there's a difference between ignoring and true apathy, right? Where you're just literally doing nothing. Those are two completely different things. You know? Doing nothing to an SJW is a terrible thought. Like, they've infiltrated video games, right? Basically every kind of media, right? Like, there's too many white men in this. Like, I heard that they said it about like it was like a Polish game developer.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Well, it wasn't I was wrong. It was Czech.
So it's like all okay. So they're chronicling an era where that's who, you know, is being historically accurate. And then they're saying like, there's nothing but white men, but it's like that's all there was in this place at this time.
If they had black men at the time, they would have been in chains.
Correct.
Yeah.
It would have been false. And therein lies the problem.
Okay, next is Jay says, spiffy haircut, Mr. Whitey. Lovely voice, Mr. Brown Man. So that's nice. Julio Santoyo says, who's your guest? He's pretty cool. This is Drexel. One of my longest running friends, oldest friends. How do you even say that?
Yeah, it's been forever.
You're not my oldest friend because I have friends who are older than you.
Yeah. I mean, almost roughly 25 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, because we were in kids. Yeah, you're talking, like so late elementary school till today. So yeah, 25 years.
Yeah. Night of Hopex says, Nick getting BTFO'd by Drexel. Dude, Drax, you need to start your own YouTube channel. Not kidding. So there you go. John Doe says, 2019 racial draft breaking news. We of the black delegation do not claim Terry Crews or Cardi B from Delegate Drexel.
No, we don't. And Cardi B's not black. And anytime these people try to claim that they're not black at any point, like I'm Afro-Latino or I'm Dominican, I'm this, I'm that, whatever people try to say, you cancel them. Like I don't care if you say who you are, but like when you try to be one of these culture vultures who decided themselves, okay, I'm going to appropriate black culture, right, to make money off of it.
Yeah.
Then when it comes time, Justin Timberlake did it, where he was out there just basically just hijacking. He was stealing from Michael Jackson.
I want to do it. I want to be Elvis.
Right? Yeah. Elvis, who was just blatantly stealing from the Chitlin circuit, right? So here's you got guys like Elvis, the Eminems of the world. You got a lot of guys out here who, at least Eminem did it very tongue in cheek. He was like, "Look, this is the music I love." And Eminem did show respect. Whereas you look at the Cardi B's and stuff, calling chicks roaches and calling a black chick's child a monkey and just way out of bounds. She was way out of bounds.
Whoa.
Yeah, in the black community, like when I say black community, I'm talking about predominantly black women. Will defend her.
Yeah,
they will. They will defend her to the death. Cardi B can make a video right now saying that she hates all black people, and these same black women would try to come up with, "Oh, she was drunk." And she could then release a new video saying, I wasn't drunk, I actually mean this. And it wouldn't happen, man.
Okay, so I'm one of those horrible people who, like, I just don't really care about race ever.
Yep.
Like, I literally... I think...
It's redundant.
Maybe that's our generation. I know several people who... Our entire group of friends growing up...
We
really cared about the whole race thing.
It was corny to us. It was like, because people, would worry about it. Like, you remember when, like, you look at just how we grew up and people who would kind of even give us looks because like we dressed different, we looked different, we sounded different, so they would be like like, why are you hanging with this guy? That seems weird. And it's like, you don't hang out with someone based on like they look a certain way.
The real answer was Tekken.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Like, for all of us playing Tekken out there in Tekken Tag, like that was just the way it was. You know how that was. People just were weird about that.
But so one of the issues, my man Q was on the other day. He may come over tomorrow. I don't know. My man Q was on the other day, and he was talking about they used to have the paper bag test, right?
Yep.
If you're darker than a paper bag, then you're black. But if you're not darker than a paper bag, then you're not black. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're mixed, which is worse, or something. Who knows what the thing is. But so my question then is, like, I've never cared about color, but I know some people put a lot of stock in it. Is there like a black enough or not black enough? Does that even matter? Is there a shade test? Is there something?
No, like here's what you'll find. If you guys start to think about this for a second, when it comes to let's say activism, what you'll notice, Obama. Was it the samurai?
He's not black. He's a mom.
We don't claim Obama. Real black men don't claim Obama.
Jesse Jackson didn't claim Obama either at first. Said he wasn't dark enough, right?
Well, the dark thing is ridiculous.
No slave blood.
That stuff is ridiculous. My problem is this. At the end of the day, as you look at just some of these things that black people have been doing and a lot of the self-hatred and stuff, the shade test, it's all stupid. at the end of the day, just what's in your heart, right? So
Blackness.
So
my heart is black.
Yeah, black heart. So you look at some of these people. Seriously, think about it. Some of the biggest activists and stuff are actually very light skinned.
Sure.
They have to, like, Malcolm X is light skinned. Colin Kaepernick is up here doing his knee, kneeling and stuff. If you notice, a lot of these activists are light skinned because they're basically trying to overcompensate. I got to prove how black I am by just going kind of over the top. Yeah, people talking about Obama. Yeah, that guy.
Okay, Kaepernick. Why was I going to talk about Kaepernick? I forgot. Never mind. Move on. Sorry.
I was just say, if you don't have two black parents, people talk so much about people's ethnicity and stuff. Almost everyone on Earth is mixed with something. So it's kind of corny and redundant to talk about how black or how white you are. The question is, are you doing good things, right?
I knew an albino kid named Rufus who was very black, but he was albino. He was from a black family, but was like the full-on albino, red eyes and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's gotta be creepy.
Down in Houston too. So Rufus couldn't hang out outside too much because his skin would, torch.
That's gotta suck.
It was wild. He's a nice guy though. I mean, we were third grade, so not like I knew him as a person too well, but anyway.
That's gotta be.
Party Time 100 says, or 1000 says, does this revoke Terry's N-word pass? Terry's no longer black. Terry Crews no longer black, so can he drop the N-word?
Well, Terry Crews is a clown because he basically played himself. Where 1 minute he's saying, this white executive or producer touched him at a party. Remember that story?
Yeah.
And then he
grabbed his junk,
genitals. Right? Yeah, grabbed his junk. And my biggest problem with Terry Crews is that he had a lot of fire coming at people for questioning him. And it's like, where was that fire that night against this guy who grabbed your junk? And then he did the whole, toxic masculinity thing.
It's not like Terry couldn't have thrown a mean right hook.
He could have laid the dude out. And does Drex like any black celebrities? There's black celebrities that I find not too bad. Like I'm just not a big fan. Suge Knight. I'm just not a big fan of celebrities in general.
Who's your favorite celebrity?
Favorite celebrity?
Mia Khalifa.
Honestly, I can't think of anyone that makes me just flat out be like that one. I'm able to separate people's work from who they are. So you have like musicians who have like bad, stories, right? Like, in terms of their private life.
Yeah.
They're good at what they do though, right? They make good music. Or you got an actor who's a good actor, but their activism is a bit far out there. So
Judge Joe Brown.
Oh man, Judge Joe. I mean, he ended up getting kicked out of court. I remember he got held for contempt.
Yeah, he represented someone in a real case and got held for contempt. Judge Joe Brown can tear people apart, but it's in slow motion. It's great. It takes him like 8 minutes to wind up through his string of insults, but he can put on the spicy. Yeah,
I remember his show, and I remember he was always hard on certain people and being like, "Oh, you're working? You got a job? You got a GED?" And I mean,
my GOB.
Well, because he knew that he was dealing with knuckleheads. I mean, he had a lot of knuckleheads come in there, so it's like, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, that's a good one. Keanu Reeves. Yeah, I really am a big fan of Keanu Reeves.
I like Boss Rutan.
Boss. Been through a lot of tragedy. I know Keanu has. I've always liked Boss. Like I said, there's people that you like more than others, but like one of the things is you don't know these people, man. We don't know these people. Like, that's why when they get caught up in all these scandals, you're like, oh my God, this is such a shock. And it's like, but is it a shock, or is it just simply you only know them for what they portray themselves as? That's kind of my take on that.
Chris Nemo asks, what is Drexel's height and specialty as a lawyer?
Oh, well, I'm not a lawyer. My height is about 6'6", 6'7".
Changes by the day. Changes by how much sleep you get.
You're right, which I didn't really sleep today, which was, not good.
Jase Nemhard says, double standards bros. I don't remember what that was 5 hours ago, so I don't know what that was in reference to. I apologize. TLJ Screwjob says, hey, Nick, what's the smug Nick giving thumbs up from? Like what video or live stream? I'll tell you in a second. Also, Drexel, as I told Q, you two need to keep fighting the narrative of all white men are evil. Why do you think that's the case? People saying, but my ancestors. So why do you think it's the case that people are saying all white men are evil?
My take on that is they're basically just trying to lull white men into submission, which is what they try to do with, that's what the Obamas of the world did. I mean, this is the same. Obama's such a cuck that he actually said, women are better than men. Women can do anything a man can do and do it better and with heels on. Yet, you look around, everything in the world was built by men, right?
Yeah, the overwhelming majority.
Basically everything. Like everything so when I look at feminazis,
I think Lady Raggett's put these desks together, to be honest.
Oh.
And she likes building.
Look at it like this. This goes for every feminist in the world. So look at the situation like this. You're a feminist. You talk about how much you hate men and demonize men. You hate straight men. You hate straight white men. Hate straight black men. You hate. So you hate men. But then you look around. You go like this. Okay, you're espousing this hatred from your phone, right? You posted it in a Twitter and a tweet or whatever, right? Built by men. The house you live in, built by men. You hopped in a car to drive to a slut walk or a feminist rally. The car is built by men. The road you're driving on, built by men.
Your status as a slut, built by men.
Your status built by men. Like the street lights.
Sorry.
Built by men. Well, so the technology within the car, the MP3 player. So what is it that the buildings that you get to? Every little aspect of your life is built by men, and yet all I hear is, I hate men. I hate. Well, I'll tell you what. Let men walk away. Let men go. So look, the sewage system. Could you imagine if men just said, you know what, we're just going to leave tomorrow. Just poof, gone. And now there's no more men in America. How's any of that stuff going to get maintained? Tell me, Nick, how's that going to happen?
Cardi B.
Right?
She's a dumpster.
Yep. Only problem is she ain't going to have anybody to rob now.
The smug Nick giving a thumbs up is from the stream I did with Tonka. That would have been very early this year, I think. January sometime. Check that out. Can we call you Legal Beagle? No. Crew cut status cheered up. I'm disappointed with the lack of whiteface, but Drexel makes it up by going full MRA/MGTOW right at the start. I thought maybe you and I should do we should do like a mud rub together. That would have been funny. But I changed my mind. The DCV Titan says, Drexel, what is your opinion of Sean King, better known as Talcum X?
Yeah, that's that transracial dude. Like, I don't know enough about him. I just remember he said he was like transracial.
Well, he says he's black, but everybody says he's white because he looks really white.
Yeah.
He's really light-skinned.
Look, man. If he wants to basically milk the system, he's basically just pimping the system of saying, well, I'm going to be this and I can get brownie points. Like, why not? Like, why is it that when it comes time for, the draft, what if men just start saying, well, I'm not a man. I'm a woman. It's my gender. My gender is how I feel.
Oh, excuse me. Get in. Get drafted. I'm going to be too old for the next draft, so I don't even care anymore. Yeah, screw you. John Doe says BBC equals bouncing black church. There you go.
It must have been during
that's twerking for Jesus.
Yeah.
Chris Larimore says the Lord twerks in mysterious ways.
Wow.
Asia Frazier says males are often assaulted as well, however, are less likely to report it. Kind of feels emasculating or something. Yeah, that's men are often assaulted. Although I think, and this is just pure speculation, I think the idea of a man getting raped on the street is lower than a woman getting raped on the street. I think assaults of men happen more at home type thing. But that's just me. I don't know.
Well, now here's the problem though. They talk about there's the rape culture, right? So for those people who are talking about a rape culture and there's just rapes happening everywhere and women are being just attacked. My question is this: on every street corner, you got cameras, right?
Yeah.
Where's all the camera video? Where's all the footage of just women just getting attacked and raped? Doesn't exist.
It's on Pornhub.
Right? With consent videos. So you're looking at a situation where it's all fake, this fake outrage, and they talk about, domestic violence is split, Lauren McDaniel. So they have done inquiries about domestic violence. Basically, it plans out to this. It's basically split 50-50. Men and women, right? Heterosexual relationships.
Yeah.
Homosexual relationships, man, is lower rate of domestic violence. The highest rate of domestic violence is woman-woman lesbian couples.
Yeah. What's up with all the incest porn? Like, what's up with the rise in incest porn?
I don't know about all that.
It's like, obviously it's not real, right? It's not, but...
Oh, you're saying like mom and daughter doing this when it's obviously not real mom and daughter. It's
right,
just...
or like a stepdad and whatever. Like, why is that suddenly That's like, I mean, if you look up they released the Pornhub map, like the most searched stuff in each state. Invariably, several states will have incest as like the top. That's what people are looking for, is this incest fantasy. What is up with that?
Here's what I think it could be. And this is just me off the top of my head. I don't know what statistics say. I think when it comes to the incest porn thing, I think it could be a case of an Oedipal complex. I truly believe that. Like, so you have a bunch of single males who are products of single moms at home, and where do you think their mind would start to go, right? What they can't have, whether that be their mom, their sister, whatever, and all of a sudden they start having twisted fantasies. Because that was not a thing when we were growing up. Like, you didn't really hear about dudes being like, oh man, I sure want some incest porn. Like,
You know what I'm looking for today? I'm going home and hitting that Alta Vista search for the incest porn.
Yeah, you didn't want to use Windows 95, Windows 98, looking for incest porn with 20-second clips.
TLJ Screwjob says, and Drexel, would you cuck Ron with Monica? We did this one. Nick, show him a picture of them. Ron did tweet, and I quote, I'd rather be a cuck with Monica than not be with Monica and not be a cuck. Yeah. Look it up. Hey, Ron, Nick didn't say this. A rando on YouTube did. We talked about that last time. That's a weird one. Snarkticon DM says, what happened to a black church? What happened to a black church like in the Blues Brothers?
Oh, yeah, with James Brown and all them. And the black church, man, it's a lost cause. I just look at it like this. In terms of what feminism did to the black community, so the black community is not totally lost. The men have finally awakened. The smart men have awakened, seen the matriarchy for what it is. It's totally relied on the government,
right?
Yeah, I mean, so go in the black community. Like, remember, and when I say the black community, I'm referring to the inner city. Like, there's tons of black people who are not in the inner city, and they aren't affected by this kind of degeneracy. So I'm not speaking about them. I'm just talking about the fact that you have all of these people who decide, hey, this is what we're going to be. And there's people out there who say, you know what, Nick, this isn't good enough. Like, we're better than this. Like, we're better than, having the highest rate of STDs, the highest rate of being overweight, the highest rate of high school dropouts and all that. Like, there comes a point when you just get sick of it. But, it is what it is.
Yeah. Next, Andrew War Snowboard says, "Isn't Miss Dolezal trans Rachel?" He's a pun guy. Instead of transracial.
Yeah,
Rachel Dolezal.
I still say she deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, man.
Yeah. IT Weeb says, "Guys, whatever you do, don't quote everything this man is saying and simply credit it to Nick Rekieta's live stream. Just don't." Yeah, I'm sure it's going to happen. That's okay. Eduardo Ramirez says, "Praise be Almighty Egg Gang. Gengio says, y'all have never been to a predominantly white Pentecostal service 4 friggin' hours.
Really?
Also, what happened to reading chats? We're reading chats now. We're just 5 hours behind. I apologize for that. I tried to keep up, but we got discussion. Y says, I was raised Adventist and we usually spent 3 or 4 hours at church every week. The Anime Blaze says, I ain't gonna keep y'all too much longer. Keeps preaching every black church ever. Bro, every time.
Wow. Wow.
These hands says, one of my mates said this about black single moms. You all need to find better men to have unprotected sex with.
Correct.
Can we get this said a bit louder for those in the back?
Yeah.
Okay. You all need to find better men to have unprotected sex with. There you go. Cesario JPN says, I like this one acronym with twerking for Jesus. Search true worshipers effectively reaching the kingdom. Also, that's twerk. True worshipers effectively reaching the kingdom. Gotcha. Also, isn't there a black pastor named Dollar? Creeflow Dollar, right? Or is Creeflow Dollar a... Yeah, he's either a pastor or a rapper. I'm pretty sure he's a pastor. I think he's the guy who has like his own jet. Creflo Dollar Ministries.
Oh, Jesus. Is he one of those guys?
An American televangelist pastor.
Yeah, that's all you had to say. Yep, yep.
Founder of the non-denominational World Changers Church International based in College Park, Georgia, suburb of Atlanta. Also heads the Creflo Dollar Ministerial Association, Creflo Dollar Ministries, and Arrow Records. He's got his own record label.
This dude, man.
Keeping the stereotype legit.
I know.
His mixtape is fire, though.
Let's be fair, though. At the end of the day, it's similar to just the way that people should be viewing the Illuminati, which is, we're the Illuminati. Don't feed the beast. Stop feeding the beast, and it'll end. That's it. These crooked preachers. Now, what if people just stop going? Then what happens? It ends, right?
Yeah.
They're parasites. These people have to feed off of these people. So it is what it is. Don't just... Oh, Bob Baker. Yeah, I remember that. What was the other Baker person? Tammy
Faye Baker?
Tammy Faye, that's it. These people were involved in all kinds of scandals. Like, come on, man.
Okay.
So I was asking about Battletoads still. Yeah, Battletoads technically when the missus wakes up.
She did say we could do it beforehand.
I'll be half dead by then. I'm gonna do my power nap before then.
That's not fair. I don't get a power nap.
Dude, it sucks to be you, man.
Next is, let's see, Asphyxiation says, I'm an atheist who happens to have a lovely Christian pastor as a friend. I've spent more time in church in the last 3 years than my predominantly Christian family. Checkmate Jesus. Zoomer Hub says, my best friend was black. We would rock out to my metal music one day and his rap the next and laugh at everyone who wanted us to fall in line. That's all past tense. That creeps me out. Izzy Reborn says, Drexel, you're totally right about the black community. That's exactly how it is in my area. I want to get out so bad. These Hands says, hippity hoppity, be gone with your thottery. There you go. Niggle says, it has been nice seeing your channel grow from the lawsuit coverage to where it is now. Thank you for the consistent entertainment. Have a few cuck bucks. Thank you, sir. Slater Danger says, blackface lawyer with black friend. Blue Samurai Zero says, Nick, I love your friend's logic and delivery. Yellow Flash and Tug could learn from his ability to finish a topic. Oh, shots fired, Flash and Tug. I think you guys are in the stream. I should send them an invite. Buddy, I noped on evangelicalism because of the fads and stupidity, preaching their musings instead of the text itself. It ain't just black churches. These Hands says, black men can't be white knights. Something about melanin content, I hear. Zoomer Hub says, psychological altruism is definitely a white issue. It may be due to thousands of years of living in the cold, plus the propaganda after World War II. I don't know. Also, I hear access to yams. That's what that is. Izzy Reborn says, I'm black and I have a clean record. There you go.
There you go.
There's at least one other one.
Right? Just the two of us.
Blaine20 says, news headline in 2029, person kills person. Zoomer Hub says, blacks have been propagandized to look at themselves as victims as a whole, just as whites have been to hate themselves and feel guilty.
I've seen that shift. Like, I mean, before it was kind of that was more of with the kind of message they sent to black people, right? Like, especially black males, like hate yourself, to shame them, and try to say that you're no good. So now that blame game has kind of shifted over to the straight
I thought that
white
was
man.
just crack.
You're right. the crack epidemic. Yeah, I've seen it, and I tell people, man, just you at some point, guys have got to figure this out and band together. But what can you do?
I'm gonna send an invite to Flash and Tug. You guys, I don't know how awake y'all are, but if you want to come on, you're welcome to. You're welcome to. I'm gonna hit the bathroom pretty soon here. We've been sitting here coming up on 6 hours.
Are we really?
Yeah. So that's a disaster. So Flash and Tug, check your Twitter DMs if you're around. You're welcome to come on whenever. Captain Weeb says, you're an absolute madman for a 24-hour stream, but I believe in you, Nick. I mean, at this point, I don't know if I believe in me, but we're going to make it happen. Even though you diss my boy Rogel Dorn, God bless and may the corn always lead you to victory. Well, that's because Rogel's he's not bad, he's just boring. Chris Nemo says, Wade run on Flash is better than his run on Daredevil. That's Mark Wade. Zoomer Hub says, whites and blacks have both been lied to.
Correct.
Dirk Limon says, wait, are you really going to stream for 24 straight hours? Also, it's okay to be white. How dare you? It's not okay to be white. Is it okay to be white?
Yeah, there's people out there trying to shame people. I can't believe there's people out there who feel a certain way. Like when I was growing up and people said anything about being black, it didn't matter. It didn't bother me. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, here we go. And so now with white males, especially straight white males, they're feeling the brunt of all the hatred and condescending language. So it's like there's nothing wrong with you. You're born, and whatever you are is what you are. So
no, it's not okay to be white.
Look,
stop it.
Look, someone put it's okay to be a cuck. Never okay.
Never okay. Do you love white people? Fancy Flight says, sorry I'm late. Question for Drexel. Are clowns and mimes racist? For the white face.
Oh, I would say no. Because you're playing a role. If the role is condescending or demeaning, like a minstrel show, then it's considered bad. But as long as it's not that, I don't think it's really much of a problem.
Narcticon DM says, Nick, donate the 24 super chat money to Vic's GoFundMe. No, I'm not donating to the GoFundMe because if I do, I run the risk of it looking like seed money under their terms of service. And I'm keeping that thing squeaky clean. Julian Savage says, CA 10-round magazine ban was decided unconstitutional. Thoughts? I'm popping my super chat cherry. Been watching since 500 subscribers. Hey! Welcome to it, buddy. I mean, I think it's unconstitutional in general. It's an impermissible restriction on the Second Amendment. But we'll see if it holds. We'll see if it holds, right? Where does the state have the authority to restrict the amount of bullets in your gun? Xander's Rant says, have me on later, Nick. Landon will vouch for me. We'll see. I don't know. Alexia Hollis says, what I have seen from the black community is such lost people. It's pretty sad. Black people are happy just being where they are at, not will to change or progress. Okay, so I think they're saying that is sadness.
Yeah, in
stagnation.
Yes, in the inner city, you see it quite often where you have a bunch of socioeconomic decay and moral decay, and that's why if you listen to a lot of rap lyrics, what do rap lyrics really teach? They teach to objectify women, kill other black men, and idolize, basically be a simp for certain types of women, and even your mother. That's why if you notice, they will demean their fathers, who they're absentee fathers, but then they pretend that their mom is this goddess, right? Not knowing that your mom was just another thought. If you're complaining, like a lot of rap songs, you hear them talk about how hard their life was, right? If you have 7 brothers and sisters and you live in a 1-bedroom apartment in New York, how did you get there? How'd you get there? your mom put you there. Your mom was out having babies by people she shouldn't have been spreading her legs for. Simple. You know, it is what it is.
But would you listen to rap about donating to your IRA?
Right. Well, it's like you have so many guys out there who can, you know, Kanye, by not being a gangster rapper or something, he always has something to talk about. You know, it's like there's a million topics to talk about other than gang banging, you know, but, you know, it's
like wisely investing in the bond market.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because there are actually rappers who have talked about investing in the music. And because they learned, they're like, you need to own something. You know,
well, Dre,
who is, you know, hip hop billionaire, Puffy, guys who are making money.
Yeah, because there's well, that's how anything goes. Like you can create or you can own the creation. Correct. And if you own the creation, you always make more money than the create.
Correct. And that's what happened to the Beatles. You look at the Beatles and you know, when Michael Jackson bought the catalog, the Beatles got hosed. They got pimped by the record labels because a lot of these guys are getting pimped. You know, which is unfortunate, but hey, people, that's the cost of fame, right?
I guess it's where you put your value. Put your value in the longevity of your, I guess, of your financial well-being, or do you put the value in your celebrity? Because your celebrity is going to go away.
It'll fade. Yeah. And that's the reason why, like, you know, the masterpieces of the world still have their money. Right.
Even though he hasn't made any music in, what, 15, 20 years?
Right. Anything substantial, anyway.
Let's see. Gabriel Evings says, "Keep up the good work, man. Depression is hitting hard at the moment, but I got a good lawyer to help keep me distracted from it." Sorry to hear that, buddy. You know, chin up, man. I know it's not that simple. I know it's not. But I'll be thinking about you, buddy. Party Time 1000 says, "Press F for Uncle Jared Taylor being banned from Europe." The Bone Zone says, "Watch the Bone Zone Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 Central, 7 Eastern." Jay Frozen, "Hunter x Hunter is the best anime. You should watch it. It's the most metal shonen like DBZ show out there. Or Monster, a 1980 Germany show about a new Hitler Stalin. You'd love it. It's on YouTube." Okay. Alexia Hollis says, "Heart, keep up the good work." Keep up the good work. Short Round says, "Show the fear the beard patch if you've got it close." I don't think it's close. I don't. I'll go grab it whenever I take a pause and go upstairs to get something from the kitchen, like food. I'll do that. Sabat Isiago says, "Nick, you should have asked your barber for waves." No, I don't. We don't make waves here. Goru says, "Mars Girl wants to know which one of you is the blackface lawyer." Which one of us is it? Mars Girl's funny.
Mars Girl, huh?
Yeah, Mars Girl's one of those. She's an interesting character in this Vic story. She's the one who really kicked off the whole hashtag movement, Kick Vic, hashtag Kick Vic. Mm-hmm. She's the one who kind of started it all, and then you know, was really fanning the flame. She was retweeting everything about anti-Vic Mignogna, right? Mm-hmm. At the beginning. And then as the ball gets rolling, suddenly she's like, whoa. You know, it wasn't me doing this. I was just relaying information.
Of course.
I wasn't defaming him. I was just repeating these stories, which, I mean, if they're not true, I'm sorry type thing.
Yeah, of course.
And now she's out there. I saw her today. I'm tired. People keep coming at me about this. Can you imagine? You spend weeks ruining someone's life.
Yeah.
And then you get blowback on Twitter. That's your only consequence, is that you're on Twitter and someone's like, "Yeah, I hope you die," or whatever.
Yeah, you get cyberbullying or cyber abuse.
Yeah, you could literally turn it off.
Yeah.
But she can't.
Correct.
Because these people can't turn off Twitter. They can't walk away. That's where they get their validation.
Correct.
That's where they get their life.
Correct.
Their sad, now catless life. Her cat died.
Do you know that happened to the chick who played Blossom, who's in Big Bang Theory? It happened to her. She's like sleeping in like cat pee and stuff.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, she hit.
I don't watch Big Bang Theory. Never did. Never found it funny.
It's not. But she yeah, she took a serious L.
Yeah, not good. Mars Girl's interesting. I'm going to be talking more about her in the coming weeks because Mars Girl, she was out there and then she got scared and kind of hid for a little bit. And now she's kind of creeping back out there. Like she thinks she's safe from all of the lawsuits and all that stuff. Oh, Sugar, you are not. You are not insulated or safe from the lawsuits. Next. Striker Quiet says, please explain why black men still vote Democrat. Take that on. I'm going to go to the bathroom while you take
Go
that.
ahead. So, actually, wait, should I go on that side? Because you can probably see the chats, right?
I can see the chats. You can see the chats.
Yeah. Oh, can I?
Well,
the
wait.
Questions?
Oh, well.
Because you're answering.
You're answering, why do black people still vote Democrat? I'll be back before you're done with this.
Oh, good.
Gotta take a picture.
Oh, go ahead. So one of the main things you'll see in the black community, you'll hear it from me, but you won't hear it from mainstream media, is that the indoctrination in the black community works quite differently. There's a victim mentality. So black people will blame everyone but themselves for everything that has gone wrong in the black community due to it being a matriarchy. And as TFM says, responsibility is women's kryptonite. Black women don't take responsibility for anything. They can have 9 kids by 9 different men, all of which were thugs and drug dealers and gangbangers, and they will still blame the system, white supremacy. They'll blame everything, but they'll never ever hold themselves accountable. Black people as a collective, especially in the inner city, you're basically saying, hey, here's the deal. Democrats, the left, is your friend. Republicans are evil, and you can have whatever you want if you want to vote left or you want to vote right. But people need to understand this. Democrats created the Ku Klux Klan. Democrats wanted slavery. If you look at looking around in America, right? Look at any city that is very, very, very ultra blue, and what do you find? You find that there's going to be a high rate of violence, a higher rate of welfare dependency. So you sort of see like cities like Chicago. So let's look at someone like Obama. When Obama was a senator for 2 years, so he's a constitutional lawyer. He's in the Senate. Eric Holder, once he became president, became his attorney general. But did they ever do anything in the black community? No, they didn't do anything. And that's how black people are indoctrinated. They're just basically, you are born, you are black, you are a Democrat, period. And if you go against that, you're the enemy. You're always the enemy. Like this, you're and that's when they use shaming. Like, they don't use anything of fact. They just use shaming language. You're an Uncle Tom. Candace Owens has talked about that. You're an Uncle Tom. You're this. You're that. You're a house Negro. They use all this shaming language to attack black men, black people in general, but especially black men who want to leave the matriarchy. It's a cesspool. It's a cesspool of debauchery and degeneracy. So yeah, I mean that's basically that. That's how you're expected to be a Democrat. You're socially ostracized if you are not a Democrat in the black community, which is unfortunate. But you know what? Screw it. If you want to vote independent or if you vote right, then so be it.
Yeah, I guess, or be ostracized.
Yeah, in the when you get ostracized in the black community, it's literally like a scarlet letter if you are not some super hardcore Democrat. Black Lives Matter. If you question anything about why Kaepernick's taking a knee, you're evil. And it's so silly because all it is like they're trying to be the thought police. You're not allowed to think that way. Which is ridiculous. These people are. But here's one of the things you got to remember: look into all these cities. Look at these black people, and what you realize is these people can't think for themselves at all. They just can't. And so be it. Like you just SYSBM, Save Yourselves Black Men, that whole movement, I Have More stuff, MGTOW, blacks being the original MGTOWs, is that they left the matriarchy. They finally saw what it is And let's not forget, the Democrats push for what? Abortion, right? It's the left that pushes for abortion.
Yeah.
They push. And now they want to, even when a baby's basically all the way up to term, you can still kill a baby now.
I saw a paper a while back arguing for post delivery abortions up to like 2 years.
It's bad, man. So by definition, a woman can legally get away with murder, legally. But if a man punched a woman in the stomach or gave her a flying knee to the stomach, UFC style, to get rid of a pregnancy, he is facing charges. Why is that okay?
It's not. It's not. It's not. iRec says, can you read my DM on Twitter at RecGears? Yeah, I did, buddy. I responded to you. Legendary Super Saiyan God. Hey, how do you think the rumors of Vic started? I don't. I think it's. I mean, do you know what a Fujoshi is?
Who?
Fujoshi.
I don't know what that is. What's that?
It basically means like a terrible woman. But there are women who like take hetero characters and put them into homo relationships in fan art. So that's kind of how this whole thing started with the Vic Mignogna thing. Is that 10 years ago, someone brought a picture of like Edward Elric and his brother, I think, or something like that, in a gay relationship, a fan art, and he refused to sign it. That's what actually started the whole Me Too thing, like a decade ago. That's how embarrassing.
It's almost as petty as what happened to August Ames, the porn star. She didn't want to shoot a film with a guy who double dipped by doing, who did gay porn and straight porn. Right. And she was basically just cyberbullied into depression, ended up killing herself. Like, wow.
Yeah, I remember that.
God, that was terrible.
R.I.P. August Ames. Everybody go watch her video. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Don't do that. Tito Rules 24 says, hey, dude, tons of love from Oklahoma City. Can we get a nice bicep flex from Drexel? Drinks on me if you're ever in town. Do you want to do a bicep flex? Do you want to be objectified in that way?
You know what? I'll do that for some other stream when I'm not staying up for all these hours straight.
What are you talking about? I don't feel like I'm dying right now.
Well, here's what's funny though.
Even into
I'll actually. It doesn't take long for me to recharge. Like if you think about it, like I bet you if you went and went like this, just rest your eyes for like 30 minutes. I bet
you tell that to all the girls.
you could rest for 30 minutes and be good, man.
I don't get to.
August did have more issues than that. I did know that, but I'm just saying it culminated with that.
I mean okay, so obviously there's more going on, right? But it's all about tipping the scale, right? Because a lot of people run close to suicide, but there's a triggering event.
Correct.
And that's what drives them over the edge. So no, it's not just that.
It's just if that's that last. Okay, look, let's look at someone like Robin Williams, right?
Yeah.
Robin Williams, who ends up going through all that stuff with his ex-wives, and he was paying out so much money, and he winds up killing himself. Or Chris Farley, like there's more than just one thing. There's more than just one thing that's causing people to decide to take their own lives. But whatever that it's building, like you said about Falling Down with Michael Douglas. It builds, and eventually they just need that last something to push them over the edge.
Yep. Dean Domino 25 says, Mint Marky's blackface or crapface comment. Yep, we covered that. Shane's Chair says, please press F for me. We did that earlier, but if you want to press F again, Shane's Chair cannot get enough respect. Someone apparently called Shane's Chair's employer and told him that Shane's Chair was supporting a pedophile. So that was funny. That was a good joke. Angel of Death is hiding. What are your thoughts on the Michael Jackson situation where people are believing he's a pedo due to a documentary without integrity? Have you watched
it? Was a hit piece.
Leaving Neverland? I haven't watched it.
I didn't watch it in full. But I have a problem with one-sided hit pieces. Like, because once again, I believe in due process. So
And isn't it now? Correct me if I'm wrong in this, but the people who gave the information to Leaving
Testified
Neverland,
on his behalf.
Wait, what? They testified on his behalf?
Yeah.
I heard that there were people who didn't get a payout from the civil cases against Michael that were in Leaving Neverland. That was basically how they got a payout, right? Like they got paid to.
It was horrible. Like I heard about it. I heard enough. The problem I have with the Michael Jackson situation, the feds investigated Michael Jackson for a decade. Okay, so the FBI investigated Michael for 10 years and found nothing. Now, does that mean he's either innocent or he's just very good at hiding his tracks? We don't know. But by the court of law, he is innocent, or you can call him not guilty. He was investigated for a decade and nothing came of it. So there's that.
If the feds aren't finding you with with crimes against children for a decade, I mean, they go hard on that.
Correct.
That's a tough one for me. I do want to watch the documentary and review the case files, but I have not had time. I've not had time. And yes, I would love to have Razor Fist on to talk about it. He and I did have an exchange on Twitter. So I have not pinged him for an actual interview yet, just because I haven't caught up on all the information. And I want to make sure that when Razor comes on to talk about it, since it's something he's passionate about, I want to make sure that I'm educated on the subject. I don't want to just, I don't want to cheapen the experience, right? Finn Frog says, travel flex. That one time I traveled, got a shave by a barber in Pokhara, Nepal with a straight razor. Told me to shave more. There you go. Dave A says, what are both of your opinions on Jordan Peele's statement about how he isn't going to hire white lead actors? Is fighting racism with racism a good idea? You brought this up earlier.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, and no, obviously they call it reverse racism, but it's really just racism.
Yeah,
right.
Now here's the one thing I do understand. Like I said, I didn't read the comments. I will. I think this is just me, someone who hasn't read a single word. All I saw was just the little headline. Now here's where I think he's coming from. In theoretically, historically in Hollywood, you've had so many white guy saviors, right? The white guy is the hero.
Right.
So I think like I said, I don't know what he said in terms of that. I didn't read the article, but I'm assuming what he's referring to is we need, like, in the media, you need to see more black males, especially, as heroes and not always being thugs or drug dealers or bad guy figures. So that could have been what he was referring to. Now, if he feels that way, then feel that way. But I don't think you really need to say that. Like, I'm never going to have a white guy in the lead role, because if it's a good
how about
story,
just don't have a white guy in the lead role? Like,
but even that is
no. But I mean, if ever Spike Lee tends to make movies that don't have white guys in lead roles.
Correct.
Spike Lee's his own thing, but it does, like, you don't have to tell people, because you're just making the art.
You're just making the art.
You don't have to draw the attention to the issue.
He makes Get Out, right? So Jordan Peele makes Get Out.
Right.
Resounding success. Black male in the lead role. Now he makes Us, black family in the lead role. So ultimately, Jordan, you messed up. You kind of played yourself, because ultimately, if you think people are going to see the movie because it's your movie, just like people go to see a Tarantino movie because it's a Tarantino movie, Alfred Hitchcock because it's Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, it just means that they support you.
And they know what they're getting.
They're
some
getting
level.
They're like, okay, we're gonna get something that has a lot of social commentary. We're gonna have some horror, or whatever, and you move from there. But yeah,
you just this is the problem. Again, I hate going back to the Vic Mignogna thing, but like, he got fired from Rooster Teeth and from Funimation. And they made a statement about how they would not work with him anymore. Mm-hmm. Well, how about you just don't work with him anymore? You don't have to virtue signal to the world about it. Like, that's the problem with these statements. It's not true. Like, art is art. You're going to do the art you're going to do, and people are either going to buy it or they're not.
Correct. Well, the market will always dictate that, though, right? Like, right.
Well, I mean, if you make movies with no white leads and the market wants white leads, then no one's going to watch your movie.
Correct.
And that's okay.
And I'll use Tarantino as a good example, because let's look at some of Tarantino's movies. So in Pulp Fiction, the main characters were a white woman, Uma Thurman, white male, John Travolta, and black male, Samuel Jackson. As we go through I mean, his next movie was Jackie Brown. Pam Grier, a black woman, was the lead. Robert Forster was on the C list in Hollywood. Tarantino brought him back to prominence and got this guy paid. Kill Bill. Now, this, like, so by modern standards, people would say, oh, God, here we go. This is a feminist movie, right? No one thought Kill Bill was a feminist movie when it came out in 2003. They just liked it because it was a good movie.
Yeah, with interesting characters.
Interesting characters. Like no one cared. Men never care. There's common misconception that a lot of the feminazis keep saying that, like, you know, men hate women and men don't want a woman in the lead, which isn't true because we all liked Halloween. We all liked Alien. You know, we all liked these movies that had strong female characters. Men didn't say, oh, we hate this because, yeah, this female's in the lead. Like, we didn't care, you know, but
yeah, that's always the thing. It's not, we don't want it forced.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. Yeah, I think, yeah.
And just don't tell us and we don't care.
Yeah. Well, that's before Captain Marvel came out, it was like, this is a feminist movie, and if you don't like it, then I hate you. It's like, why can't you just... So Wonder Woman was a resounding success.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh wow! Like weak villain. You know, I won't give it a perfect score, obviously. But all I'm saying is this: of all of the DC movies, Wonder Woman is easily the best. It's a good movie. It's an enjoyable movie.
Well, I mean, that's like...
The bar is pretty low. I know.
Yeah, the bar isn't pretty low. That's like saying the one rose in a field of shit is good. Goodness gracious, what about terrible? God, DC's garbage. I hate it.
I know.
Let's see. Jordan says, what's the best way to get out of jury duty? Get naked. Ben Cheever says, why did you change settings so I can't live rewind? That's not me. You should be able to live rewind. You should be able to just go back like 2 hours, I think. I don't know. That's not a setting that I set up. So if that's how it is, I apologize. But I am recording the whole thing, and it'll all be uploaded. Snarkticon DM says, hi, I'm Sarah McLaughlin here on behalf of Shane's chair. Someone did a recut.
Oh, wow.
Someone did a recut of, did I play it? I think I have permission to play. Where was that? Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find the video of it because it was on Twitter. Oh my God, it was funny. Get a water. Guys, if anybody has live rewind isn't working. That's not me. Sorry guys, it's YouTube. That's probably because I don't have the low latency thing set. If you guys have the link to the Twitter video, I will put it in the stream. But I don't have a quick access to it. So if you guys have it, if you guys have a link to that tweet, throw it in the chat. I will play it. Y says you can use Streamlabs widgets in regular OBS via browser embeds. Yeah, you can. You can do that, but that would require a lot of work that I'm not doing. I like the live portion of Streamlabs, which shows me these chats. It's how I'm able to keep track of them, even though they're 5 years old or 5 hours old. 5 years.
5 years. Let's say
5 hours.
Seriously?
Tovalius, thank you for the donation. Then follows up with just joined in. So who is that dude on top stealing the show from Blackface Lawyer? That would be me. I'm Drexel. Legendary Super Saiyan God says, hey, Nick, I was wondering what your thoughts are about how these rumors about Vic started. I mentioned that just a little bit ago. I think it all seems to stem back to him not signing that Yowie art, and then people just generally not liking him. Because I think here's what I think happened. I think he had an ego.
Vic?
Yeah. I think he had an ego, and then was kind of maybe an asshole to people at conventions. Not the fans, but the staff.
Okay.
The people who had to...
maybe.
Because I've heard this. Oh, you don't know how bad he is. Like, one of the things was that I've seen bandied about was he made a staff person drive halfway across town to buy a particular type of ice cream before he would do a panel or something like that. Or he showed up to a panel that ran over and he forced them off or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But so basically, a guy who's become an A-lister in this small world acted like an A-lister. And volunteer staff at conventions didn't like it.